Hello, wonderful teacher. Justin Slocum Bailey here from TeachHuman, where we believe that teaching and learning well shouldn't cost anyone their health or their identity. And this video is right in line with that first and crucial thing, your health. My first teaching job was at a school whose motto was thinking and living well. Now, thinking and living well is a great motto, and I would constantly try to impress its value on students. But the thing is, I myself wasn't living that well. I wasn't sleeping that well or much. I let how things went at school determine my identity, how I felt about myself far too much. I ate haphazardly. I worked so hard that I was exhausted when I came home, and I couldn't really focus on my family or other things well in the evenings. And I worked so hard all week that on the weekends I actually had to spend much of the time sleeping instead of enjoying time with my family. I was not picking my health, and I didn't really even allow myself to see that I had that choice. But my health and your health as a teacher and as a human matters way more than most other people act like it does. And if you're at all like me, it matters more than you yourself often act like it does. So I want to offer you not just a motto, but a mantra that has become crucial for me. I come back to it again and again ever since I started realizing the extent to which I was not picking my health. And that is the mantra, pick your health. Now, when I phrase it that way, pick your health, I'm not saying that we are completely in control of our health. I'm not saying that we can be healthy just by choosing to. I know that there's so many elements of our health that are outside of our control. Lots of other people's decisions impact our health, and we can be laid low at a moment's notice, no matter what decisions we make. What I'm saying is when you are faced with a genuine decision where when you think about it, one option is going to be better than the other for your health, go with that one. Pick your health. For example, if a new tool seems like would make your lessons or your assignments or your materials better, but you would lose sleep figuring out how to use it right now, don't go with it. Choose sleep. Pick your health. If you're working on a slideshow or a resource or anything else for your students, and you're inclined to have it be a little prettier or put in one or two more examples, but coming up with those or doing that beautification would cause you to lose some sleep, don't worry about it. Choose your health. Pick your health. First of all, your health is probably more important than that other thing, no matter how you look at it. But even if you're the kind of person, the kind of teacher who's inclined to sacrifice for your students, who likes to go the extra mile, think about this, that it's extremely hard to do anything well as a teacher, and extremely hard to do anything well as a human when you're not healthy, and especially if you're exhausted. It's hard to get motivated, it's hard to focus, it's hard to sustain work, it's hard to accomplish anything of significance, and it's hard to feel good about what you have accomplished. I'm talking here about your physical health, your mental health, and whatever other kinds of health there might be. Your students need a healthy you more than they need a fancy lesson. I can tell you as someone who's suffered from chronic physical and mental health issues that I would give almost anything to be able to go back and pick my health over a lot of other things, including teaching related things in my first 10 to 15 years as an educator. I can't do that, but I can today when I recognize that I have the choice, say to myself, Justin, pick your health. And I invite you to do that same thing when you're faced with a choice like that. Pick your health. I want to give you another big reason to do that as a teacher. Let's go back to my story of teaching at that school with the motto, thinking and living well. And I talked about how poorly I was actually living. Now, that didn't necessarily show up in my classes, right? Adrenaline and teacher skills that I could rely on still let me sometimes bounce off the walls when that was the thing to do, still helped me get through my entire school day teaching intently and intensely. But I think that students start to notice that thing, especially older students start to notice when we're harried, when we're exhausted, when we're tired. And it's okay, it's actually good for students to see us as real human beings that happens to. But it's not good for students to see us as teachers or to see adults in general working so hard that they lose their health. Because what message does it send students when the adults in their lives are working so hard that they're losing their health? Well, my unhealthy living was giving students reasons to think or feel, even if subconsciously, that they needed to be on all the time, that work, assignments, things like that are the most important things. My unhealthy living was giving students reasons not to want to be like me or imitate me, and it's hard to teach students who don't want to be like you at all. And my unhealthy living was giving students reasons to dread becoming an adult. And that's something I do not ever want to do to children or to people of any age, really. I don't want students who see how I live, who get a sense of my energy, my health, my attitude, to have reasons to dread becoming an adult. I want to model healthy, wise living for students. I want students to see me enjoy my work, participate in community life, and have time for other things. I want students to see me and say, that's a life worth having. And I'm guessing you want those things too. So both for our own sake as human beings who need health and for the sake of what we model to students, pick your health. Let's pick our health. Think about the message that it sends when you're, let's say, returning an assignment and you say, oh, I was up really late grading these. We don't want to send that message. I don't want to send that message. Let's pick our health and let's model for students the picking of our health and of our non-teaching lives. I don't want to leave you without some really practical ways to pick your health. So I'm going to give you 5 specific areas and ways in which you can pick your health. But before I do that, I want to mention something I've noticed, which is that the mindset of pick your health is especially powerful when you're faced with a decision where it's not actually clear that you're picking between this thing and your health. You're picking maybe between 2 other things, and it's not the case that one of them is your health. But it's still the case, I've often noticed, that if you take a step back and you ask yourself, like let's say you're having trouble deciding between these 2 things, as a tiebreaker, ask yourself, well, which one of these things is going to have a worse effect on my health, and pick the other one. So that's a practical life skill that I commend to you. But let me get into those 5 very specific areas in which we can pick our health every day. Number 1, say no to stuff. You've heard me maybe talk about this in another video on how to work less, which is just don't. Say no to stuff. So many teachers say yes to things way too often. We say yes to things that really aren't our job to do. We say yes to things that someone else could do. We say yes to things that don't even need to be done at all. So practice just saying no to things. That can feel a little awkward at first, but I've found, and I've heard other people report as well, that if you make a habit of just being simple and firm with your no, I can't do that, or no, I don't have time for that, or no, I'm going to do this other thing, or just no, people actually grow to respect that. Number 2, do non-work things and let yourself truly enjoy them, right? A lot of times we do things that aren't work, but we don't let ourselves truly enjoy them. So for me, those things are often reading, playing guitar, sometimes writing music, and doing martial arts. Those are things that I enjoy for their own sake, and they're also things that I can become so absorbed in that my brain gets a true break from thinking about work or work-related things. That's especially true, by the way, for things where I need to pay careful attention to physical motions I do, or to my body, which is a classic way of getting out of your head. So if you have things like that, take the time to do those and allow yourself to truly enjoy them. Number 3, sleep. You don't need me to tell you this. Actually, maybe you do, because almost all of us could use the reminder, could use hearing from another person. Just sleep. Now, if lying in bed, you're not able to sleep, it makes you restless or something like that, you could try using a guided sleep meditation. That's been really helpful for me, and there are zillions of them on YouTube. But just tell yourself, just remind yourself, sleep. Doctors, studies, everyone is telling us over and over again that losing sleep has an irreparable damaging effect on our health. We may be taking days, even years off our life from chronic lack of sleep. So if you want to pick your health, sleep. Number 4, move your body. And I purposely phrase it this way instead of saying exercise, partly because it's cliche and boring to tell someone to exercise, but also because the idea of exercise can be really daunting, whereas, hey, move your body maybe isn't as threatening, and every little bit helps, right? A lot of times I just Pace. I paced a lot while I was planning this video, actually. Maybe you go up and down some stairs. Maybe you just step outside. Getting outside, by the way, I could add as a bonus way to pick your health. Being outside is good for us. In fact, I attribute much of my getting through the winter of 2020, 2021 to going outside no matter what, no matter how cold it was here in Michigan. If you absolutely feel the need to get more out of the time when you're moving your body, go ahead, learn something or enjoy something by listening to a podcast. But you might also try just focusing in on your exercise or the movement itself. You might get more out of it that way, and that might also help provide the mental reset that moving your body can provide. Number 5, have a good time with people who don't know anything about your work or who know next to nothing about your work. I love shop talk. I adore shop talk. I do it all the time. I do shop talk alone in front of videos all the time. So I'm not saying don't talk shop. I'm saying make sure that you get some time with people who don't know and don't really care about your work. Doing that for me is one of the most refreshing things that I can do. I want to leave you with this final comment, that picking our health when we do have a choice is important, but the burden of being healthy shouldn't sit squarely on the shoulders of teachers. Systems have a huge responsibility. Departments, administration at all levels, society at large need to take care of teachers. That's such a big thing that's actually its own video, but I didn't want to end this one without having emphasized that. The burden of being healthy shouldn't sit squarely on teachers' shoulders. It's everyone's responsibility. But while we work on and wait for those larger changes to happen, remind yourself early and often, pick your health. To help you remember some ways to do that without you always having to come back to this video, there's a handy visual reminder linked in the description of this video. Check that out along with the other linked resources. Also explore the other videos on this channel. And if you want there to be more like them, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell, like the videos, leave a comment, and of course, share it with your colleagues and friends. I'll see you next time. In the meantime, pick your health.